If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkill's tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates. And today we have quite a bit of information to talk about, some good, some bad. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First off, we have here the Bluebird Simulation 757 update. Unfortunately, they have pushed the development back to what was hopefully going to be towards the end of 2023, although that was never actually confirmed. But they said that we're looking more like, it's been definitely pushed into 2024. Now, this has upset a lot of people, given the fact that there are many critics who are saying that the aircraft is taking too long to come out of development. First off, I disagree. The article that I read goes on to state that the Shervin, one of the lead developers, it sounds like, has stated that this is their first entry into the flight simulation experience for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's their first airliner. Not only is it their first airliner, but they're also doing a high-fidelity airliner, much less or much more to the competition of something like PMDG or Phoenix quality level of aircraft here. So there's a ton of work that comes into this. The team has almost tripled in size. Obviously, being an initial developer and first coming into the simulation, they are there was a lot of trial and error in the beginning of this, so they had to wipe it out from scratch, which, by the way, the aircraft is also being built from scratch. Everything from texturing, modeling, electronics, you name it, everything is being done from the ground up. So there's no kind of, there isn't any kind of import or anything like that that's happening here either, or any kind of redo of an already existing platform. The whole thing's being done from the ground up. So I can actually kind of respect that. One of the things that I really appreciate that they said in the interview that that was read here was that they want to make sure that their reputation when the aircraft finally release is one that is of value, that one that people say, Bluebird, wow, we know the kind of quality that they push out here. And so their biggest thing is we want to make sure that it is done right, and that when they do release it, that it is an aircraft that we as the end users and they as the developers can all be proud of and proud to own. So I give them a lot of credit for that, and I really appreciate their sentiment of it needs to be right in order for us to be willing to do this, and that really goes to say a lot in this kind of a long haul, if you will. This is certainly a huge undertaking for a team that's just stepping into the simulation world, going for not just an aircraft, but a high-fidelity aircraft, dare we say study level caliber of aircraft. That's a big undertaking. So again, what they are currently hoping for is they're hoping to be able to call a release date by either early 2024 or possibly, depending on how development progresses and if it stays on the schedule it's currently running at, hopefully by the end of 2023, we may hear information as far as a release date, which is pretty hopeful to me because that means it could be anywhere from early to mid-2024 that we actually see the aircraft. And when you think about it, it's really not that far away. I mean, we're 3 months away from December now at this point, so the year is going to fly by, right? I mean, it already is just zipping right around the corner here. So cross your fingers. I'm, for one, support their decision. And I am also very appreciative of the fact that they're being very open with their information and not trying to BS anyone and not trying to say, oh, soon. Nope. They're just flat out saying, you know what? Here's where things are looking. Here's where we're going. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to be able to hit that kind of a time trunk. And I appreciate that kind of sentiment. Let me know what you guys think. JustFlight punched out a new update for multiple of their aircraft. First off being the Fokker F-28 received a pretty significant update from everything from flight models to electronics to the EFB, you name it, across the board. It received a quite significant update. So if you guys are F-28 owners, now is the time to definitely look into updating the aircraft, as there's been some significant improvement, especially into the control handling that was very specifically mentioned. A full changelog of that aircraft is obviously always available on JustFlight's website. Also, you have the Hawk T1A trainer here that received not quite as big of an update, but definitely an update worth mentioning, as they have now added new features to the EFB, such as SimBrief integration, Navigraph charts, giving you a better and more reasonable way to fly the aircraft as a civilian purpose and be able to take it from place to place and be able to enjoy that experience. So that's JustFlight's update for their 2 aircraft that were mentioned today. A little bit of a tease from Parallel 42, looking like they're developing an immersion pack for Microsoft flight simulators. You can see here the 747 showing condensation and vortices coming off of the wingtips and the wing surfaces. Parallel 42, as you guys know, are always really big and innovative in their desire to enhance the sim beyond its standard scope, whether it be their camping kits and their Kit Fox aircraft that they have for Microsoft Flight Simulator, their various campsites and things like that, that they're always trying to add something just a little bit more to the simulator. Obviously, if they do something like what we're seeing here, if this is just a glimpse of what the immersion pack could look like, I'm certainly very excited about it. It would definitely be great from a content creator's perspective, being able to take screenshots and videos like we're seeing here on the screen here. And that will definitely make external flying for some of the who definitely like to do that. I'm not much of an external flyer. I usually stay inside the cockpit. As for me, going to the external views tends to break the immersion for me. But certainly, like I said, from a content creation perspective, I will definitely be taking advantage of that and using that more. I could see this being really cool if you bring things like the landing, mist and things like that, and the reverse thrust, mist blowing up over the wings and whatnot. They could really go a long way with this depending on where it heads. So again, right now it's just a teaser image, but Parallel 42 working on an immersion pack for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Flight Replica gives an update on their Spitfire. As you guys know, their Spitfire has been in development for quite a long time now, but it seems like expectations should be set as though it is going to be in testing next week, which means it should be right around the corner. Now, you already have the Flying Iron Simulation Spitfire, and I think that this will be a very close comparison. Now, I will say, with the screenshots, I'm going to let you guys decide. I'm not going to actually say it, but I do want you guys to sort of compare screenshots between the Flying Iron Simulation Spitfire and the Flight Replica Spitfire, and tell me which one you guys think is more on par here. It's going to be a really tough call here. Both the colorings and modelings of both aircraft are certainly fantastic, and it's going to be a real jumble to see which one comes out on top. They're both incredible developers, and I'm really excited to see what they come out with as far as their comparison to the already existing Flying Iron Simulation Spitfire. This is going to be quite the battle of the spits. It's sort of like the the 109? No. What was the other one that they did? So many aircraft. P-40? I think it was the P-40. That's what it was, where there's like 4 different developers of it now. Anyway, I'm hoping the Spitfire doesn't necessarily take that route. I'd like to see, some other aircraft hit the table here. But if you guys have been watching the Flight Replicas, or at least waiting for Flight Replicas announcement of the Spitfire, it's coming around the corner, so stick around. An application that doesn't need much of introduction here on my channel, as I've showcased it many times, but it is finally being announced as released, and that is the Simbox application. This is an application that I have used many, many times, has some great profiles for multiple different types of aircraft. The development process has started with something as simple as just lights, buttons, switches, controlling your autopilot panel, and all of this can be done from either locally on your computer or any web-based browser software, as well as touchscreen controllers or touchscreen monitors, I should say. As I said, it does everything from controlling your autopilot, controlling your radios, has multiple MCDU integrations, meaning that you can actually pop out the MCDU screen and run the MCDU from this particular app, which I'm sure will be showcased here shortly. It is an absolutely fantastic integration source. It also works with things like Knobster and other third-party rotaries and encoders and things like that you can use with it as well. It is a really, really awesome piece of software that I've been really, really grateful to be a part of ever since its inception, essentially, ever since it was first released and announced. I've worked with the developer for quite a while now. We've been chatting back and forth a long time. He's done a fantastic job. I had the pleasure of meeting him over at Flight Sim Expo 2023 out in Houston, and that was, again, an absolute blast. You guys can see some of the features and functionality that's happening with this particular software here on the screen, and it goes far beyond this. Again, you have MCDU integration, FMS integration, where you can actually have access to the full FMS and MCDU devices directly on your tablet, cell phone, touchscreen, doesn't matter. One of the other really cool things that I know he is working on, I don't know if it's in this particular version or been released as of yet, but I can tell you guys right now that he is actively working on the G3000 and 5000 integration, bringing those tablets to the software as well, meaning that, again, you'll be able to pop out the screen and control them from your touchscreen, cell phone, tablet, etc., going on and on here. Now, I do believe he does demonstrate here in the video in just a second the use of the MCDU and FMS. I'm going to keep coming back to that because I think that's one of the more critical parts of this. It really is a big deal. You can also see there's a G1000 integration that I want to make sure that you guys get to see as well. Now, if any of that footage does not show in this particular video, it's my first time watching this particular video, but make sure that you guys just go to my channel, go to videos, hit search, and look for Simbox, and you'll find a bunch of them where I do showcase the G1000 integration. I do showcase how to use the FMS and MCDUs with this particular software. It actually creates a virtual monitor, basically a monitor without being a monitor. And really a fantastic piece of software. This has been one that I've been, again, talking about over and over and over. And now that it's been made a public announcement, you're starting to see it on multiple websites and being announced on multiple news channels. I wanted to make sure to get it up here and give it some more attention once again. It is absolutely worth it, you guys. You guys can find it on your Android Play Store. You can find it on his website. His website is also another thing that I want to speak of, as his instructionals and documentation are absolutely on par, step by step, how to get it up and running. It is finally happening. It has been officially announced that the TBM-850 is coming from Black Square. This is actually kind of bittersweet information. If any of you guys like myself, and you probably do, a lot of you, follow Stevo Knievo. He just recently announced a couple days ago that 850 Tango Bravo, I believe it was, is unfortunately being sold, and Stevo Knievo will no longer be flying the 850. And that's actually where my TBM love started, was watching that channel. And so to see that Black Square is bringing in a TBM-850 to the simulator that is a fully modeled high-fidelity version of the aircraft, I have no problem saying that. I will have a link to the news article that I read about this particular aircraft so you guys can check out the full list of features and everything that's been announced about the aircraft thus far. It's going to have full persistency, engine failures, mechanical failures, you name it, across the board. Everything is going to be completely modeled. And that's where the persistency comes into play, is you'll actually have to be able to, or need to, maintain your aircraft and watch your maintenance and follow your checklist. Speaking of checklists, there are going to be over 600 items of available documentation and checklists you can follow for both normal, abnormal, and emergency procedures in the aircraft. The TBM-850, like I said, is where it all began for me. This is a really awesome aircraft. This is where my love for the TBM-930 came into play. But when I really started loving the TBM-930, this was the aircraft that I was hunting for. This was the one that I wanted. Again, we're back to the analog gauges. We're back to the more simplistic and yet more complex of cockpit build here. And watching all of those videos time after time after time of Stevo Knievo and all the different approaches and things that he's gotten to do in this particular aircraft, this is a dream come true here. This is the aircraft that I wanted to have here. And I know we have, obviously, there's the 940 that's out now. I think there's a 950 out now. And I'm glad that they went the other direction and went with the 850. Super, super excited for this one. This is almost an exact replica of Stevo Knievo. He is my TBM hero, guys. You guys are going to hear that a lot. If you guys haven't checked out his YouTube channel, just look up Stevo Knievo TBM and you'll find it like that. He's got a ton of them. And again, he just recently announced that unfortunately TBM is being sold and he's moving on to other things. But you got the GNS 530 here. There is also swappable radios that are going to be included with this particular package, just like they did with all of their analog aircraft updates. They're obviously maintain that same level of fidelity and complexity with their back-end systems, things we don't see on the front side but may experience while in flight. So this one is one that I cannot wait. Oh, we also have a price. We're looking at $39.99, I think euros is what it was. I hope I read the right currency there. But that's awesome. I mean, I'm looking at, forgive the conversion if I'm wrong. I totally could be, but I think that comes out to right around 45-ish US dollars, if I'm not mistaken. Perfect price for this aircraft and the feature list that they've listed. Again, I'm not going to go through the feature list because it's quite extensive, but I will have a link to this article down below if you guys want to check it out, because it's super exciting. And when you look at the screenshots and how everything is developed, I'm willing to bet that our aircraft is, I bet it's right around the corner, especially the fact they've already given it a price point as well. So super, super excited. That was our biggest news for today. I wanted to make sure to save the best for last, but guys, TBM 850 on the way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you found some useful information. As always, stay safe and healthy. Continue to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.